of character sketch of Devang Mehta. He was the president of National Association of Software and Services Company, NASSCOM, which became the key voice for all IT-related decisions.
Ma'am, slide changing.
Can you see the slides now? I'm changing the slides.
Yes, ma'am. Now we can see.
Okay. He was synonymous with terms like roti, kapra, makan, bijli, and finally bandwidth, which he felt was the need of the 21st century. Now, he was born on August 10, 1962, in a very small village unheard of village called Umret in Gujarat. And he spent 6 years in this rural surrounding wherein he developed the love for India, love for the Indian soil. 6 years later, he came to Delhi with his parents in pursuit of education, and he did his formal education from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, that is the school from where he graduated. Then he appeared, he had a dream to become a doctor, and he appeared for the entrance exam, and he qualified in 3 prominent colleges of Delhi, including the AIIMS, but because of certain rules criteria for admission, which required a minimum percentage in physics, in all the science subjects, particularly physics, he did not have that requisite percentage. As such, he could not pursue his dream of becoming a doctor. Thereafter, he went to Bombay, joined St. Xavier's, and took admission in arts to study political science, history, and French. But his parents were not happy, so he came back to Delhi and pursued chartered accountancy, which he qualified, from which he was able to complete chartered accountancy in 1984. But all through his student years, he was interested in a number of, he had a number of interests. So it was an assortment of activities he was engaged in, which would add to his professional skills and also his personality. Like journalism was one. He participated actively in politics. He had interest in graphics. Then he had a passion for computer graphics, wherein he learned about this in Imperial College London. He had multiple interests. He developed an interest in advertising, ad filmmaking, and movie making. And ever since he had a desire to direct a movie. Then further, when back to India, he had a dream for India where he felt that we had the talent, IT skill, IT manpower, and which could be leveraged to become a superpower in the global context. So he envisioned a scenario for India where India could find a place on the global map on the strength of its IT talent. He laid the foundation of what later on became to be known as the country's IT BPO sector. Now, he spurred the growth of India's software and services export. We say NASSCOM became the key voice for all IT-related decisions. He drove the industry to become a significant contributor to the GDP. So during his phase, he ruled for almost a decade, that is 10 years, 1999 to 2001, wherein he saw to it that we had a lot of foreign exchange revenue from basically the IT BPO sector. Okay. He made innovation a key goal for the IT BPO sector. He helped build an ecosystem where creative solutions could be built and delivered. And he had a very untimely death in a hotel room in Sydney because of a heart attack. He came to be known as an evangelist, and this was a term which was given by Computers India. He was known as an evangelist. He became synonymous with terms like roti, kapra, makan, and bandwidth. He made India a superpower, an attractive destination for the US Fortune 1000 companies, where 266 of these companies outsourced their software requirements to India. He provided high visibility and high profile. He created an India brand. India incorporates software brand in the global arena, where software and services, you can see, grew at the rate of 50 to 55% per annum. A huge growth rate. It grew at the rate of 50 to 55% per annum. And their contribution to the GDP was 128 million in 1991, wherein he entered the IT sector, and it reached $6.2 billion in 2001. He introduced the assortment of interests that we talk of. He happened to meet the prominent director, Shyam Benegal, in his village, and for 2 months he worked under him as a spot boy because he was really interested in filmmaking. Basically, he worked with him as a spot boy so that you could get a knowledge of the nuances of filmmaking, what are the intricacies involved, to get the feel of the action behind what actually takes place for filmmaking. And finally, he made a documentary, which was a 20 minutes documentary on tourism, India tourism, which was entitled Glimpses of India. And for first time, he got recognition. He won an award at Commonwealth Film Festival at Leeds in 1983. He had a very good writing skill. He wrote opinion and columns in countries' leading dailies. He also wrote in international journals like Red Herring and Business Week. Another passion we talked about was computer graphic, which he developed when he was at Imperial College, London. Then the turning point in his career was when his veteran from the IT industry, who was also a personal friend of him, Harish Mehta, he offered him a job at NASSCOM. He asked him to take over as the chief of the NASSCOM, and yet he was very hesitant to take over as the chief of NASSCOM because he felt this work required a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of time, and he did not want to delve into anything so very deep so that he could pursue his other dreams. So when his friend, who was also an IT industry veteran, Harish Mehta, approached him for this job, after a lot of hesitation, a lot of deliberation, a lot of thought, he gave it a thought, and then he said, okay, fine, I'll take this job. But then only commitment is I will report only 3 days a week. So instead of reporting for 6 days a week, he reported only for 3 days a week. He said, because I have a wide array of interests, I also need time to develop them. So he accepted it after much deliberation, thought, and hesitation to go there for 3 times a week. He took it as what we call a part-time assignment because he wanted time to pursue his other dreams. The period between 1991, that is when he took up, to 2001, that is the time when he died, an untimely death, as we always say, and an untimely death that he had by a heart attack. But he reigned for 10 years, and during this period, from 1991 to 2001, this was a period of transformation and growth for the entire India, for both NASSCOM and also for Devang, and also the growth for the IT industry in India. So each drew strength from each other. NASSCOM from Devang Mehta and Devang Mehta from NASSCOM. So they drew sustenance from each other. Devang Mehta from NASSCOM and NASSCOM from Devang Mehta, and both grew. The NASSCOM grew and became a prominent key voice in the IT sector, and Devang grew in stature. He gained respect. He gained recognition and respect all along. So Mehta grew in stature and gaining respect, while the Indian ICT sector grew as an industry. So both sort of complemented each other. NASSCOM too began to evolve into an association of substance. People started recognizing NASSCOM as a key factor behind the development of the IT industry in India. It wasn't long before NASSCOM became the key voice of the Indian software and services segment. It became the key voice of the Indian software and services segment. He used his writing skill. He had a very good writing skill, and he used this skill in order to develop the IT sector, in order to popularize Indian IT skill abroad. So he did not use his talent, let his talent stay at bay. He used his talent as a powerful tool, his writing skill as a powerful tool to sell India across the domestic market. So he used his writing skill as a powerful tool to preach the Bible of information technology to an India that was gradually awakening to the digital world. Digitalization was gradually taking a foothold in India, and he used his writing skill to change the opinion of people in India, not only in India, to change the people of the Western context to have to see India as a prominent factor in the IT industry. He wrote opinion and column in the country's leading and business dailies. He wrote special supplements about Indian software industry in international journals. This is how he created a brand India. He created a brand for India. So he wrote special supplements on Indian software industry in the international journals. This is how he changed the opinion of the international market towards India. He shared his opinion and also changed the world's opinion about India. NASSCOM had by then become a key voice of the Indian software and services segment. He laid the foundation for the robust software sector, and he continued to play a key role in the building process. He recognized the potential of the software services as a major foreign exchange earner. He recognized that it could be a major foreign exchange earner, and he launched the what we call India Incorporate Crusade across. He had a dream for India, and he championed his vision. So he had a cause for India, and he let it grow. So Devang dreamed this dream and championed this vision. However, suddenly we came across his death. He was found dead in his hotel room in Sydney, in Australia, where he was again there for some work, IT-related work of India, where he was in a group with IT Minister Pramod Mahajan on a networking trip to Australia. He says, Pramod Mahajan says, it is a big loss to information technology. If there is any person who deserves credit for promoting information technology as an industry in India, it is definitely Devang Mehta. These was his words. He was also shocked to found him dead. When he could not report for the meeting in the morning, then there was a knock on his door, and he did not respond to the knock on the door. So when they opened the door, they opened the room, they found him dead, and postmortem revealed that it was a heart attack. It was a very untimely death. So his body was found after he failed to wake up in the morning. And IT Minister Pramod Mahajan says it is a big loss to information technology. If there is any person who deserves credit for promoting information technology as an industry in India, it is definitely Devang Mehta. At New Delhi office, when the news came back, people had tears. They were stunned because it was a very, you can say, a premature death, an untimely death. Computer World magazine, for 3 years in a row, they named him as Software Evangelist of the Year. He was also given the credit of IT Man of the Year in 2000 by Geneva-based World Economic Forum, who selected Mehta as one of the 100 global leaders of tomorrow. Then this is simply because he made a contribution to the industry. He built a global brand equity for India's software industry and campaigned against software privacy. He was also a champion of Indian software exports, which have ridden the crest of the global information technology revolution. As a president of a president of NASSCOM, he had a blueprint for the IT industry. He had a vision. He could foresee things which others could not foresee at that point of time. And he knew how it could be used, this IT talent could be used effectively to change the lives of the Indian millions. And he wanted not only IT for the top crust of the society, he wanted IT to be used at the grassroots level also. So there's much transformation that he brought about. 1 year of demise of Devang Mehta. After 1 year of his demise, Devang Mehta Foundation was laid down by some of the family members and close associates to fulfill Devang's dream of an IT literate India, because his was an untimely death. He left half of the things that he had planned, he could not execute. So it's IT Devang Mehta Foundation Trust was set up basically to fulfill his dream. It's a public charitable trust formed so that the name of Devang Mehta is remembered in future, and one remembers the pioneering efforts and the hard work put in by Devang Mehta in establishing India as a IT power. The objective of this foundation is to narrow the digital divide, to skill the underprivileged youth with focus on entrepreneurship, to solve rural challenges, to establish, maintain, manage institutions who are engaged in education and training in IT, and conduct research in IT and other field of education. This was the basic objective. So Devang Mehta Foundation Trust was laid down with the objective to narrow the digital divide, to skill the underprivileged youth, basically with the focus on entrepreneurship, to solve the rural challenges, to establish, maintain, manage, and assist institutions who are engaged in IT and IT training, and to also conduct research in IT and other fields of education. Objective was to encourage and assisting deserving students in the field of IT by supporting with scholarship, prize, award, merits, recognition at any school level, college level, university level, training centers to help implement any scheme for providing livelihood and upliftment of people. And also IT related skill would be imparted so that they could so that they could develop in them a certain skill which could earn them a livelihood, so that they would develop a certain skill which would earn them her livelihood. So then his unknown place where he was born, a small village called Umrit, it also got recognition only because of Devang Mehta's contribution. So the historic place Umrit where he was born got a center where the local youth is being trained in IT skill and other conventional sectors. And all this is being borne by the Devang Mehta Foundation Trust. The center will give exposure in emerging technologies and deploy them in the industry. Technology is changing fast and creating new jobs. The young workforce at that particular village, the young workforce in that particular village will get training, Umrit will get training, and they will be skilled to devote to earn a livelihood. And there are so many awards which can be named under him: Devang Mehta Leadership Award, Excellence Award, National Education Award, and so on. And his friends say he had a very sharp brain that could quickly analyze and resolve issues if there is a conflict or if there is a dispute, a difference of opinion. He had a knack of settling it down. Then he had a vision. He could see opportunities with others, elders, more experienced, more knowledge of the industry or the world could not even sense. And then he had a knack. He knew how to approach the politician, the bureaucrats, and they would also welcome him and welcome his ideas and suggestions, which people more experienced and a higher age group did not know how to approach or how to get their word across. So he had what we call very good negotiation and persuasion skills. So no matter who was in the power in the software, in power, software always received special treatment. So whoever was the minister or whoever in the political party, they always welcomed Devang Mehta. His intensive parleys with the right people, he knew who are the people in power, he knew how to keep terms with them, he knew how to get his word across to them. His cooperative stance with the IT related departments, the other related departments like VSNL, Department of Telecommunication, Department of Electronics, Ministry of IT, Information Technology. He knew how to get across and get his word through. They enabled him to get concessions which any other industry otherwise really had to pursue and would not get across so very easily. He got zero duty on software imports, crucial income tax concessions for software exporters, he laid down stringent copyright laws, the introduction of the IT Act, cyber laws, and he managed to push through an extensive software industry wish list. So whatever he had in mind, he could get it across. He could get it across the board. Then he recognized the potential of the software and services segment, and he propagated it through columns, blogs, opinions, and he made India an IT destination. A software sector targeted 154 billion worth of software export by end of 2020, and this is only because of the push or the thrust or the initiative which initially had been taken by Devang Mehta. In the domestic front, so apart from being a revenue earner, foreign exchange revenue earner, by making it a destination for the BPO sector, on the home front also, he guided the central and the state government on what we call ITification. He helped 19 state governments draft their IT policies. They were in a haphazard shape. So a minimum of 19 state governments, he enabled them to draft their IT policies to create right IT infrastructure to aid the cause of software. besides a dream for the software industry, he had a blueprint for the IT industry as well, and how it could be used effectively to change the lives of millions of people. He wanted the benefits of IT to petter down to the grassroots level. Now, I remember meeting Devang Mehta in a conference in Nirma in Ahmedabad, where he was there as a keynote speaker, and he took up many instances. He told that he had gone to a region in Kutch. I would like to share this with you. He had gone to a region in Kutch, and there he saw ladies in the villages making. Gujarat has its own embroidery, so he could say the glass work and embroidery, and he was fascinated by the work that they were doing. And they said, "Ki, why can't we sell this across to India?" So he opened a tie and he gave it to one of the ladies, and he said, "Could you do something on this?" And of course they were adept, so she created a pattern, because the ladies, when they can see the shape of the whether it's a tablecloth or whether it's a tie or whether it's a scarf, they know exactly how to, what kind of a pattern would look nice on it. So, and then you must be knowing, this is how they sold across through the internet. They were able to showcase their products to the international market, and we still have that website through which they are able to sell their products. So something they were earning very small, they were able to channelize it by exporting their products. So he said, it is not for the top class, it is also for the masses. So it is the the benefit of IT should be given to every class. So this is how he talked about taking IT to the grassroots level. He had a restless urge to do many things in life, for new experience, new adventures. This is how his friends describe him, and they say maybe that is why he faced what we call a burnout. A burnout. The flame vanished very fast. Even as the flame, he had a restless urge for new adventure, new experiences, trying out new things, and he died very young. If we say approx at the age of 40, or rather, it was exactly at the age of 38 that he faced his death, that he had a heart attack, and it was an untimely death that he faced. But we draw inspiration from him, because at a small span, he firstly did not come from the IT sector, but he had a vision, and he had ideas. He knew how to sell his ideas. His personality was such, he knew to keep contact with the right people. He knew how to he had good negotiation skills. He knew how to sell his ideas across and get his work executed. In a short span. That is the growth phase for anybody's career. We start a career early, maybe in 25, 26, but the basic growth phase is your 30 to 40, 42, 45 years. So that is the growth phase, and he contributed maximum. And however, he could not carry on beyond the age of 38. But we draw inspiration from him, because he did not come from the right field. He went into a different area, being a chartered accountant. He went into the area of IT, made significant contribution, and even his predecessors who have his successors who have taken over as president of NASSCOM after him do acknowledge the contribution of Mehta, and they say that nobody who has taken over after him has been able to contribute as much, as significantly as has been the contribution of Devang Mehta. We stop here with the discussion on Devang Mehta. I have repeated it because I have something in mind. So I hope you have. I will not be sharing this PPT with you, but I hope you have taken interest and either noted down points or noted it in your mind, if not noting in paper. And it is something we will be taking up for discussion in your future class. We'll be taking up more. I think one more personality or two more personalities from the IT sector, who were not from the IT sector, who almost had no background, but they have made significant contribution, and we acknowledge him every day in some way or the other, either through their services or the products or the foundations they have laid. We also talk about people who, in fact, are known for the institutions that they have laid. So NASSCOM was an unheard of institution, but we acknowledge him only because of the contribution or the significant position that Devang Mehta got for NASSCOM. So that is all for discussion today. Any query anybody has, and the video, I'm sorry I could not run through, but I will try to get it fixed up by the next class, so we can have other sessions wherein we can cover that video. But somebody has forwarded it on the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much. I think through that it is all of you could have could view it. Any query anybody has,